making it now a crime for turning off your body camera on purpose. Right? That,
I'm
and
nodding
now it's a
because,
crime
yeah,
to lie
very
in a
important.
police report. And I will tell you, I've been in rooms with some of the reformers in Chicago. I've been in it since the late 90s. And I said I wanted to make them like when a police officer signs a police report, they're actually under oath. And I got pushback from people about that.
Mm-hmm.
Reformers, well, you can't, you got to understand what they're, I'm like, no, 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 no. If I, at that point, especially in the mid 2000s, right, I had to sign under oath if I filed a complaint against an officer. Why doesn't an officer have to sign a report? Why doesn't it have to be truthful? And that was one of the things that I found really kind of offensive, their response to this. I just want to get your opinion. I know it's not exactly in your bailiwick here, but why do you
No,
think that's important to make these things
that
as crime?
actually that is in my bailiwick because before in my previous life I was a criminal defense attorney, and I was a criminal defense attorney sort of over the time period that we started having body cameras, which was a really interesting thing to watch. The the problem of cops turning off or not turning on their body cameras, it is hard to communicate how often this happens. And it's clear and is clearly intentional. I mean, you will hear cops on body camera say things like, to other officers, wait, turn your, are you on or are you off? Basically asking, am I currently being recorded? Um,
Mm-hmm.
which is, and this is a huge problem. Body cameras, the research is pretty clear that body cameras are no silver bullet for protecting people from excessive force. Unfortunately, it turns out police do pretty much the same things they did when they weren't being filmed as they do when they are being filmed. But it's hugely important for evidence, and it's hugely important in court for avoiding wrongful convictions. It's also hugely important for making people understand that when impacted communities say that there are major, major, blatant injustices being done against their communities, including things like bold misstatements of fact in police reports um, and flagrant Fourth Amendment violations, which anyone who's spent time in 26th Street will tell you is true. It gives credibility to people who don't know as much about the system to say, hey, look, here's the video of it happening. And I think that's incredibly important. Ultimately, we it's great to be able to catch it after the fact. We need to be able to also prevent police misconduct, right? And body cameras don't do that. But the ability making it a crime and meaning and creating some risk of actual consequences for these kinds of body camera violations or for lying in a police report is incredibly important. Here's the thing, though. We will need to make sure that those cases actually get charged and prosecuted. So, a crime on the books is only good if it's actually used consequences. There are times that prosecuting cops criminally are going to make sense, and there's times that they won't, depending on the severity of what happened, right? But we do need to make sure that if this is the law, that our state's attorneys, if they see an egregious violation on one of their cases that they're prosecuting, that they refer that officer to felony review or misdemeanor, or wherever else they need to get that officer investigated for a crime. That's a pretty hard thing to get prosecutors to do, because they are relying on those very same cops to secure convictions. So it's going to have to be something we monitor very, very closely, as is anything that creates criminal charges for police.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, but I just want to say I've seen that also in some of the video that's released by COPA. You'll see these shootings, and then the detective shows up or the boss shows up and says, "Turn your body camera off."
Right.
Like, I don't understand why. Wait a minute, the incident isn't done until they're like off their shift. What do you mean turn it off? No. If they're going to give you a statement, it has to be on the record. You don't get to
Mm-hmm.
say, oh, I don't remember what he said. So I've always thought that those people should immediately be fired, right? That should be a terminable offense. You purposely turn that off. I don't care. Yes, you're shaken, but um, you have to deal with what you said during that time. And we should understand that officers that are involved in incidents are also going to be shaken, much like
Sure.
survivors of violence are, and their statements are going to have some inconsistencies right off the bat. It just is. But in Chicago, the discrepancies are so large, so often
Right.
that it isn't just from trauma; it is purely from lying.
Well, right. I mean,
Um,
and it's not like a law that was passed. Sometimes you'd think from the comments that are being made that the new law says that anyone who doesn't turn on their body camera is going to be prosecuted for a felony. No, it has intention requirements, right? There's a requirement that this is something that's intentional and knowing, and that it's not the result of a mistake or circumstances, but that it's specifically targeted towards people who are not turning on their body cameras or who are lying in police reports because they don't want the truth recorded. So, that is something that, to turn on a body camera, you literally have to go like that. That's all you have to do. And not only does that turn it on, but they're cool. They like back record 30 seconds because they're basically always recording and they save the previous
yep.
30 seconds. You can even hit it late and you'll still get everything. But we need, that is not a particularly egregiously high bar to ask our professional police officers to do, to turn on their body cameras.
No, it's extremely, extremely low, and it's the people that wouldn't do it are most likely the people doing something that we want to see and they don't want recorded, and that's why they're doing it. I mean,